Hi everyone, I'm Louise and I'm going to be doing just a really quick Promarker tutorial for you today. The only reason I'm doing it as my first tutorial video at all is because I've had quite a lot of women from the Do Crafts forum ask me how I colour my Forever Friends bears. So this is an example of some of the stuff that I've done in the kind of style of colouring I do. This is a gorgeous penny black stamp. I always prefer to do mice and hedgehogs with kind of light colours so that you can add colour and brightness into the rest of the scene. And this is just another little one that I've done. You can see my little scribbles up here. And I've just got jelly rollers in with the roses. So, at the moment, I don't have a Forever Friends bear printed out, but we've got a Milton Bear, which is very similar. For those of you that already have Promarkers, you will be used to having the blender pen, which is the main thing you need. The main mistake that I find people make with this is they take the name blender literally. The way it actually works is that it's got an alcohol in it that actually removes some of the pigment. So it doesn't really blend as such, it just fades the colours into each other. So you need to remember that if you apply this on, especially heavy, depending on your cardstock, it can spread out and you're going to get some of the brightness taken away, so just be careful with that one. The other colours I'm using is Putty. This is the main colour that I use for Forever Friends bears. As far as I remember, it's one of the very first colours you could get with Promarkers. You use blush, wrong way round, just for some accents and to add a little bit more colour and depth to it. And then we've got a little bit of rose pink. I'll show you where that comes in later. I always like adding a little bit of pink into the kind of cheek area and fading it in. And lilac, or whichever colour else you can think of, because he's got his own little bear, so it needs to be a different colour. I may speed this up during the editing process because I have no idea how long I'm going to take with this. It's my first go in quite a while. Okay, so main thing when you're colouring these things in is you've got to try and imagine, if it was real, where's the light going to hit? The places the light's going to hit, that's going to be lighter, so towards the edges are going to be darker. So if I do it that the light is just face on, we're going to get a little ridge here. Now you don't need to be too careful with it because of the way I do it on the first go. I prefer to just use the same colour and build up the tones all the way through. You get the artists and the people that are a bit more experienced with it who will use 1,000,001 tones in one bear to add it all up, but quite frankly, if you're like me and you're rushing to do Christmas cards at the last minute, you do not have time for that. So you just go around the edges with your main colour, adding in as we go. Oh, and if the sound quality is a bit rubbish, I do apologise. It's the first time I've used my D90 for film. Would you believe it, a photographer that doesn't do film? Okay, so, and then at the feet, it's entirely up to yourself, but this kind of style, I would do it around like this, and down the side. So we just do it this way. Sorry about that, I'm going to need to piece those two bits of videos together because one of my cats decided to turn on my TV. And you would have heard it constantly. Okay, so, back to where we were. So you can see that just going round that once, round about the edges, you've built up this very light colour. Now this is where my method differs from a lot of people. A lot of people would then grab a darker tone, one down from Putty, and then go in further and they would continue that until they got the tone they want. I, however, don't do that. I do a lot of model painting and I use the same method and it works really well. What you do is you just use the same colour and you build up in layers. Because of the type of pens these are, they will let you just keep layering up the same colour and it will make it darker and darker. Now, for a lot of you who are watching this, you may have clicked on this by accident and said, oh, she's not telling me anything I don't know. Well, yeah, that's fine, that's cool. It's just I have a lot of people asking who have just ventured into Promarkers after having cried at the price, who have been asking. So I wouldn't say this is a tutorial for the hardened veterans of the method, but definitely for the newbies out there. Just gives you a starting point and lets you find your own style really. Now if you find that you're deciding, like I'm looking at this and saying, well that's maybe a bit white, well it's perfectly fine, you're still on your first layer of colour on a new patch, so just go and add it in. If you think, oh no, I went a bit too far, the blender pen removes, so we can get rid of some, so that's all good. So yeah, just keep going in, add in the colour, you can't really go wrong with them. unless you start adding in ridiculous colours. As long as you do things gradually with this method, it's not an issue. So you can see here on the stomach you've got the kind of lighter tones out here, and then you can see it darkening. Now don't worry if it appears a bit patchy, the blender pen will sort that by removing some of it. So you can keep going until you're happy, and the thing is as well is you can use the blender pen in between your layers. You don't have to wait until you're completely done with the colour and use your blender pen. You can then go back in after you've used the blender pen. In fact, that is another method of how to use them. You cover the card in your blender pen first and then go in and colour, and it just gives you a slightly more fluid finish on it for when you're colouring, if that makes any sense. Probably should have put a bit more thought into this tutorial, but hey ho. It's the first one, so you know, be nice guys. Okay, so you can see there I've definitely got a graduation of colour. I'm just picky, so I'm just going to quickly keep adding in. The other thing about the Promarkers is that there's no waiting on layers drying, because the formulation of the ink is that it's instantly dry. So this is why you can keep going over with the same colour over and over again. So again, just getting it so that you're happy. This is a very, very quick one. Usually I take more time. Okay, now that I'm happy with that, put the lid back on. Always, always, always put the lid back on. Little tip for you as well. If you've got them stored in a pen rack and you're continually pulling out the pens to see the colour, get a little punch, colour in your bit of paper, glue it on the end. It's fantastic. Okay, so blush. This is our thing as well. I've always got a little spare bit of card. Now, I'm just going to add a bit of blush in here to add a base of some pink, and I'm going to do it to his tummy as well. I'm going to add some in here just to get a pinky tone, and a little bit here, even though they're not going to be a solid colour. It's such a light tint that it just adds a bit, but it's not enough to actually look like it's deliberately being coloured by the time you use the pen. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's his basic colour and happy the way I've got it just now. So in comes the blender pen. Now, I said before about your cardstock. This card is from Ryman's, and I think it's 360 GSM, but I'll link it later on in the information of the video. I think it's about £4 a pack, and if you're cutting to A5, you'll easily get a couple of hundred pieces of card out for your top or your stamped images. So it's very cost effective, and it's got a lovely glossy finish to it as well, which is fantastic for your Promarkers. Now, blender pen goes in. I always start in the lighter areas, and I just move in little circular movements, and then I go into the darker areas, but I don't concentrate too much on them. Now you can see it's starting to get this greyish tone. Well, that's just the liquid in the pen starting to work against the ink, so that's fine.